Georgia Backroads magazine doesn't have any staff writers. All the stories in the magazine come from freelance writers who choose their own topics. Usually, they have their own story ideas, but sometimes something in the magazine inspires them. Sometimes it's a story, sometimes a photo. That was the case with the spring 2011 issue. The cover featured a photo of Rasho Crane, a young musician with the 7th Wisconsin Regiment. He was captured at the Battle of the Wilderness in Virginia in 1864 and died at Camp Sumter, Andersonville prison, in 1865. Shortly after that issue came out, I received a phone call from Emma Cottrell, a writer in Duluth. In 2006, Emma had written a story for us about a Confederate cemetery near Covington. Now she was moved by the photo of young Rasho Crane. Offhand, I closed our conversation by encouraging Emma to go to Andersonville and write about Crane. She was 86 years old in 2011, and I didn't think she'd actually do it, but she did. Camp Sumter at Andersonville was established as a Confederate prison in 1864. Far from the front lines, it was safe from advancing Union armies still far away, but it wasn't safe from privation. By that point late in the war, the Confederacy was having trouble feeding its own troops and civilians, and its prisoners of war suffered likewise. The camp grew to hold more than 45,000 prisoners, of which about 13,000 would die. They died in the heat and cold, from unsanitary conditions, from malnutrition and disease, and sometimes at the hands of their captors or even their own comrades. The spring 2011 issue of the magazine included 2 articles about Andersonville. We took a careful look at what happened there and concluded that the prison commandant, Captain Wirz, was not guilty of murder and wanton acts of cruelty, despite the charges leveled against him by the United States after the war. The evidence, including compelling accounts by Union prisoners, indicated that Wirz had done about the best he could under nearly impossible circumstances. Nevertheless, a military court-martial convicted him of capital crimes, and he was executed in Washington, D.C. in November 1865. Wirz's story is an interesting one, but we chose the photo of Rasho Crane for the cover as representative of the terrible human loss at Andersonville. The photo came from David Vaughn of Atlanta. David has assembled the largest collection of Georgia Civil War photographs, and we have featured one in every issue since the winter 2011 issue, shown here. Inspired by Rasho Crane's photo, Emma made the trip to Andersonville in southwest Georgia's Sumter County and found his grave. When she returned home, she wrote this tribute poem to him. Rasho Crane by Emma Cottrell. I stand before your grave, Rasho Crane, far from Wisconsin and the waters of Lake Michigan, the green fields of Kenosha. I saw your photograph in a magazine. A Union boy, a stranger, someone's son. Pathos struck my heart, and I could not choose, but follow you to this place. In the strange silence growing round me, I close my eyes and see you again, young, hot-blooded, impatient, lured from home to fight, not knowing your real enemy was fate. Just 16, you stood proud in your blue uniform, cap in hand, determination in your handsome face, eyes looking straight ahead, ardent in some desperate glory not yet dulled by the insanity of war, musician by rank, accomplished in trumpet, fife, drum, and bugle, eager to sound men to the colors. Within months you are in the midst of war, in the bloody battleground of Virginia. You have no sleep. Captured in the Battle of the Wilderness, your ship south to even greater hell, Andersonville. You seem to have been born under a dark star. Your life accelerating off course, your manhood thwarted, dying out of order. The quickest way out is to step across the deadline and be shot to death. Over 13,000 prisoners die here. You are one of them. I thought to bring you a single rose. Instead, I bring you two, a red rose and a white rose, signifying unity. I place them gently on the clay of Georgia that has sheltered you through each season for 147 years, far from Wisconsin and the waters of Lake Michigan, the green fields of Kenosha. We published Emma's poem in the summer 2011 issue of Georgia Backroads. Today, Emma is 98 years old and living close to family in South Carolina. That's where she's from originally. Thank you, Emma, for the tribute to Private Rasho Crane.